So actually, Apar's businesses are building blocks essentially for infrastructure and particularly power infrastructure. So we have a overhead transmission line business, overhead conductors. We're one of the largest players in the world in that. We have a specialty oil business of which the largest component is transformer oil, which again is connected to the electrical industry. It's a critical raw material or a component that goes into a transformer, which in turn goes into a substation. And then we have a wire and cable business. So by its very nature, it's quite electrical. So we've always been an engineering-led company. So it was founded by my grandfather. He had a mechanical and electrical engineering degree. My father took over from him after working in the business for almost 25 odd years. And he is a PhD in electrical engineering. And then Chaitanya and me are both engineers. I'm an electrical engineer, Chaitanya is a chemical engineer. The motto of our company is tomorrow's solutions today. And the way in which Apar has grown is that we've been very focused on the product lines which we have, but we've wanted to be world leaders in those product lines, to provide customers a solution to their problems, difficulties, needs, or aspirations as the case may be. And so as a consequence, at least up to this stage, having senior management and business leaders who are very technologically focused has really allowed Apar to grow. You do need, today to shop technology in some of these areas is not easy, because our main competition is companies out of Japan, Korea, United States, especially at the high end of the spectrum, or from the Middle East, where they've paid tons of money to get the technology. So in our case, each of the businesses has an R&D center, and all of them are DSIR approved, Department of Science and Industrial Research. And we focused in terms of developing all these products and own our own IP. And the advantage of owning your own IP is that then the world is your market. You don't have restrictions in terms of where you can sell. The moment you buy technology, it comes with strings attached. So I think so far the development of Apar has progressed at this pace because of a major technology focus and a technology edge. Having said that, going forward, now that the company has grown to a certain size, it's possible now to bring in people. In fact, we've always had good people, but the size and the budgets that you have, spending on R&D, the scale that you have, you can afford and bring in the best, technology talent.
Yeah.
So I think it's been very important so far, but going forward, I think we can have a broader base. It doesn't have to be a family-led person.
So that's actually really interesting. You bring up 2-3 really interesting points, and I want to get into each of those, one of which is competing globally. Right. But before we get into any of that, you brought up your father, Dr. Desai, and you spoke about his PhD. There's an interesting story, and I'm not sure how true it is and how much of it is legend, but he played a role in actually putting a man on the moon and getting him back. Is that true?
So when my father was doing his PhD at Penn, part of that PhD, so there were 150 engineers who were involved in one aspect. It was a very complex thing, and there was this big race going on between Russia and the United States. So they had thousands of engineers working on various aspects. So there was a team of 150 engineers, of which I believe 5 or 6 were from Penn, from the electrical engineering, the Moore School of Electrical Engineering at Penn, who were involved in the trajectory of the space shuttle to get to the moon, and then getting the shuttle off, from the moon back into the orbit. So he was one of the members of that team. And in fact, it was very mathematical from what I understand, from him. And that's one of the reasons why his thesis advisor was very keen that he be there, because he was very good in math. But it was a fast track PhD. Because typically these PhDs take 3-4 years. And in this case, he got his PhD in just a little over a year and a half, because it had such a tight timeline.